Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Tracy Evans. I'm here with another grad spotlight and excited to welcome one of our graduates sharing their journey in equine assisted learning. Today, we're speaking with Kristel Boon of Unhaltered Hope. Tell us all about yourself, Kristel, and where you're calling in from.
Okay, so thank you, Tracy, for doing this. I'm calling in from Okotoks, Alberta, Canada. And yes, so my name is Kristel. I run Unhaltered Hope. And tell you about myself, depending how much time you have. So you will probably notice there's a little bit of an accent. So I grew up in Belgium, speaking Flemish and French, and somehow that French stuck in the English. I don't know why, but it is what it is. As far as Unhaltered Hope and what brought me to becoming an equine-assisted learning facilitator, it's a bit of a long story. I'll try to condense it a little bit. It came out of a emerging after a cancer journey, as well as, sorry, trigger warning, my dad committing suicide while I was in the middle of my cancer journey. I had just finished chemo. I had just had another surgery and I was waiting to start radiation. So being from Belgium, I was unable to travel back at that point. So there was a lot of compounded things happening. So when all that settled, I fell into a deep hole and I found my way. I can't really say back to horses because I didn't grow up with them, but I was always fascinated by them. So I kind of gravitated towards them. I started doing some horsemanship lessons. I did some equine assisted therapy, which was super helpful instead of sitting in a chair in an office. Although I have to say, the therapy that I've done, cancer related and grief counseling, has helped as well. Like I needed that as well. But there came a point where I was done talking. So I did some research, found information about equine assisted learning. Didn't really know what it was about, but I found my way to Cartier Farms, talked to Gail on the phone, said, Gail, I really don't have a whole lot of horse experience. She says, that's fine. You'll be fine. Just come. And I did. And I went to Saskatchewan, took the certification, and came back totally on cloud nine and really felt like this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. So I tried to condense it a little bit.
That was excellent. I hate that you went through all that trauma, but I love that it brought you here. So,
Yeah,
everything we go through always takes us somewhere that we're meant to be, I believe. Um,
right.
can you share a moment, maybe with a client or a group that you've experienced that really shared the impact of this work? Maybe a favorite story?
Yes. When I found a facility to work out of, I did a trial run because, I had the horses, I assessed them, but I needed to do a trial run before, excuse me, before bringing in clients. And so my trial run was with people I knew. And so one, it just stuck with me how one young woman came, she was open-minded. She's like, yeah, I'll do this for you. But she was afraid. And she was honest about it. She was like, what? Like, whoa, this is a big horse. And she was working with a horse called La Costa. And she's a mixed draft, Irish draft, and something else. So she's a big, big girl, but very, very soft and calm. So within a couple of stations, she went from being, I don't know about this, to having the lead rope, leading La Costa, and my son was taking pictures at the time. And so she led La Costa, and La Costa followed, and her face just went from, I don't know what I'm doing, to, yes, I'm doing this. So there were a couple of elements, right? It was my trial run at the facility. I had done other programs at a non-for-profit, but this was my own. And so really that transition from, I don't know what I'm doing, to, hey, this horse is coming with me, and the smile, and it it just shows how it can quickly turn when people come in and they're unsure and they don't really know what to expect, and then within 15-20 minutes, half an hour, it just switches, and it's hard to explain to people that have never done it. Like, it's really something that you have to experience to
Absolutely.
believe it.
And don't you find, I think, as women, I sometimes forget that there's fear in the room, and obviously I do a lot of corporate stuff. So we have a lot more fear in the room because there tend not to be horse people. But it's amazing the transformation in those people that overcome a fear. And I learned a long time ago that that can be one of the biggest things you do for a person is to help them face a fear and get over a fear. And I know in my experience, as you probably saw with your client as well, they're the ones that want to put the horse in their trunk and take it home. And they have a very deep connection when they
Yeah,
finally overcome that fear and feel that connection with the horse, which is amazing. But
yeah,
I think people don't realize how much these little fears interfere with the rest of their life. You might think that a horse fear would have nothing to do with anything else, except when you realize that because of that horse fear, you haven't spent time with horses, you haven't tried to overcome it. You have other fears in your life that you don't try to overcome. If it becomes a
yeah,
pattern to just live in that fear and go, I'm afraid of it, I'll stay away from it, then there's so much to life that we don't experience. So getting someone over fear is, I think, one of those gold star moments for this program. So I love that you shared that
absolutely.
story.
Yeah, yeah, it absolutely is. Yes.
Yeah, amazing. So, viewers, somebody considering EAL certification, what would you want them to know as they're deciding, what path to take and how to do this?
To take the certification?
Yeah, somebody who wants to get into this work, what advice would you have for
Yeah.
them?
Okay, so my biggest piece of advice is do your homework.
Mhm.
Research, talk to people. My initial contact with EAL was actually through an organization called EAL Canada. And I thought, oh, well, EAL Canada, those are that's the thing, right? So I went and visited them because it was close to home. And sadly, I didn't feel good in that environment. So from there, I kept going, I kept looking, and then I found Cartier Farms, and I called Gail,
Yeah.
and she was so open to explaining it and be like, it's okay, you don't need to be that horsewoman. You'll become it, right? And and so she helped me overcome that little hesitation. And so bottom line, do your research, talk to people, and the other thing is go in person. Like, do not do anything strictly online because you need that connection with the horses. How else are you going to do the work
Right.
if you took a certification online, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Great, great advice for sure. And there's so many options out there. I mean, especially down here in the States, there's a plethora of certifications that people can choose from and a lot of great ones. And I always say the same thing when I do my master classes and my EAL workshops to help people try to navigate it all is do your research. And you really do you should connect with your trainer. And if that didn't, happen for you with EAL Canada when you went, that's a very personal journey. So some other people might think that this is the right place for me, but for you, you have to connect and know that it's the path that you want to be on. And you'll know. I think I knew when I talked to Gail as well, like it was the right thing
yeah,
for me based on what we were doing. But and the in person, oh my gosh, when I see all of these AI courses hitting the internet now saying, oh, be an equine therapist in 3 days online. And I just want to cry. I mean, we work so hard to build credibility in this industry and make sure that we're turning out graduates that are confident and effective and doing proven programs. And then you see that stuff just coming and watering it all down. And you're like, oh, but I think people are wise. I think people are wise to that. And to be able to get into the arena, practice, build that confidence, and know that you can step away from your certification and actually recreate it is only going to happen with that in-person stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
for sure. So back to you. As you look ahead, what are you most excited about? What's coming up for you?
There's a few things. So the non-for-profit that I contract with is starting up next week. So spring is coming. Maybe in Alberta, we had like another snowstorm yesterday, but
Ontario,
um,
apparently. Sorry, I
yeah.
laugh.
So crazy. So I'll be running 2 days of programming there, and so they cater to youth at risk, or as other people, like in the Rescued Hearts movie, they said, "I promise youth" instead of youth at risk, which I really like. So that's starting up next week. I am also in talks with another, it's a therapeutic riding association, but they are trying to incorporate or bring other programs. So I'm in talks with them. And then at the end of the month, I'll be at the Red Deer Horse Expo last weekend of April. And I will be helping Gail and Dominique at the Cartier booth to maybe give them some relief if they want to wander around so that they're not stuck in the booth. So, yeah,
Oh,
a few
that'll be
different things.
excellent. Very fun. Fantastic. So where can people learn more about the work that you're doing and get in contact? And we'll have this at the end of this program as well, so they can see it.
Perfect. So I have the website, unhalteredhope.com. I'm on Instagram as Kristel_unhalteredhope. And I'm on Facebook as well. And I forget my handle, but I'm there.
Unhaltered Hope, they should find you, I'm sure.
Yes.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, I'm super excited for you for everything you have going on and coming up. And I will look forward to following your journey and look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.